We continue on as we look at our third discipline, and that, of course, is the discipline of almsgiving. And back to our book, Praying Lent, we hear that almsgiving has always been an important part of Lent. Fasting and almsgiving foster generosity, and generosity is an attitude. It's a sense that no matter how much I have, all that I have is a gift and given to me to be shared. And get into our third Hollywood movie for this evening to help to open up this idea of almsgiving, and that is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, in this movie, Charlie is a young boy who comes from a poor home, and he's one of 5 lucky contestants picked to tour Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory and perhaps win a chance at a lifetime supply of Willy Wonka chocolates. One by one, the children are eliminated because of their horrible behavior, and in the end, Willy Wonka is testing Charlie by telling him that he, too, is going to be disqualified. But before leaving, Charlie stops, reaches into his pocket, and he returns a sample of a very special, top-secret prototype candy called an everlasting gobstopper. This candy could have made him rich if he had sold it to Willy Wonka's competitor. Because of this selfless act, Willy Wonka announces that Charlie has won the contest. And that's because Charlie has realized that it's not about me, and that material wealth is not the most important thing. And this is precisely the lesson that almsgiving provides for us. It helps us to remember that the world doesn't revolve around me, and it helps us to learn how we can detach from material possessions. So let's take a closer look at this notion of almsgiving and see just how we can practice this in our lifetime. Now, almsgiving is the practice of sharing what we have with others, and we do so not to earn a reward, but to imitate Jesus, who showed us the ultimate act of selflessness by dying on the cross. So I'd like to offer some tips for almsgiving. Let's begin by looking at some suggestions for those that we teach, especially kids, about how they can share their time, talent, and treasure with others, starting with the notion of time. First of all, you can spend some extra time with family members. You can try to find someone at school who's often alone and talk with him or her. You can visit someone who's sick or homebound, especially family members. You can do some chores without being asked, or you can dedicate some time to doing service at a soup kitchen or a food pantry. And these are just a few ways that we can look at sharing our time with others, because let's face it, not all of us have money to give to others, especially kids. They often just don't have money to give, and they wonder how they can share. So in addition to sharing time, they can also share talent. And so we can offer suggestions such as the following. They can volunteer to share their talents tutoring someone else in a subject that they're good at. They can share an athletic skill with a teammate who needs some help, or they can offer some skills and talents at their school or their parish. Or perhaps they can design some get-well cards for people who are sick. And here's something that some of us older folks can use. You young people can teach us how to use computers and technology. That's a real talent that you have, and we can encourage young people to share with some of us older folks about how to become better at the technological world. So finally, there's also some ways of sharing our treasure that go beyond money, but they focus on our possessions as well. And so this is how we can share our treasure with others. So for example, we can encourage young people to go through their drawers and closets and gather clothes to donate to charity, or perhaps they do have a little bit of money, designate a little portion of their allowance to give to a charity, or perhaps they can collect and donate food for a food drive, or make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and have an adult deliver them to some homeless people in the community, or perhaps just treat someone to a meal for absolutely no reason at all. You see, when we do this, we have an opportunity to experience what we call a Copernican revolution. You see, Copernicus was the Polish astronomer who first proved that the Earth revolves around the sun and not the other way around, as many believed. So to have this Copernican revolution is to come to the realization that the world doesn't revolve around me, but that our lives revolve around God. And all three of these Lenten disciplines can help us to have that Copernican revolution. I'd like to recommend a very good book for your own Lenten enrichment in the area of almsgiving, and that is Radical Compassion by Father Gary Smith, a Jesuit priest. And Father Gary writes about the lessons that he learned from sharing his time and talents with the poor and homeless in Portland, Oregon for over 25 years, a very selfless act. So check the Loyola Press website.